When hiring, do you know that where you post your job opening is just as important as what you say in that job opening? Hello, I am Jamie Van Kuyk, the owner of Growing Your Team, where we help small business owners who are building businesses following their own rules hire their idea candidates. We do this through hiring education, consulting, and full service recruiting, all designed to teach you how to hire like a pro. So let's talk about where to post a job. This is one of the top questions that I get all the time when I'm talking with people. They believe they have great job postings, but they put it out there and they get crickets. Or they're really just unsure of where to even start with posting a job because they look at job boards, and some of these job boards can seem like they're going to cost you a lot of money, and you're not sure if it's worth to spend the money on that job board because you're like, what happens if I post it here and nobody applies? Is that money wasted? And I will tell you, where you post your job is very important because there are job boards that you can post your job on that you're going to get no performance at all. You're going to get zero qualified candidates. And how do you know which job boards those are? Because the trick is every position is going to be successful in different places. It's not all going to be the same. Inside your company, you can have success posting job A on this job board, and you post job B on that job board, and it falls flat. So how do you know where to post your job? How do you know where you're going to find your idea candidate? The thing is, you need to post it where your idea candidate is looking for work. This is going to be different depending on who your idea candidate is. So one of the things I will always say when it comes to where to post your job is to first start with Indeed. Indeed, by far, is one of my favorite job platforms. With most of the clients we support, their idea candidate comes through Indeed. So a lot of times you can post on Indeed and not have to post anywhere else. It's one of the most popular platforms for candidates to find jobs. One of the reasons why this is it tends to have a lot of jobs out there because they have a free option. So if there's really that low barrier to entry to post your job, anybody can post jobs there, which means there's more jobs, which means candidates are more likely to look there because they're more likely to find something that they want to apply to. I sometimes get the pushback when I say that, and they say, wait, Indeed doesn't have a free option. It wants me to pay. With Indeed, you're right. It wants you to pay because that's how they make money. But you can post for free. So when you're posting your job, if you scroll all the way to the bottom when it has the budget area, there'll be a button. They change the language all the time, but typically it says no thanks, post without sponsorship, or things like that. They do make it hard to find because they want you to post with sponsorship so they can make money, but you don't have to. One of the things I always tell the businesses that we work with, and this is the philosophy we follow here at Growing Your Team, is always post for free on Indeed first. Because one, with a lot of jobs, you can get a good handful of candidates when you post for free. And two, it allows you to test your job post. Is your job post bringing in the right people? Let's say you posted and that first day you get 10 applicants. Is at least 50% of those applicants good applicants? Yes, you might have the other 50% that are people you don't want to talk with, but are at least 50% people that are in the ballpark of who you would extend an interview to. Maybe not perfect, so maybe you're not extending it to all 50% of those, but at least you can see why they apply and how this person would think that they're qualified for this job. If that is the case and you want more candidates, absolutely put money behind it to sponsor on Indeed. Once again, that's how the platform makes money, and we have to pay businesses so that way they can stay in business and keep producing the content or the platforms or the systems and everything that we are going to use. So yes, we pay Indeed to post jobs, sponsor jobs all the time as well, but I always say start for free, and if you have a very, very small budget or no budget for job posting, start with Indeed, stay there. You'll probably find your idea candidate there. But sometimes we need to go beyond Indeed. So, what happens when we go beyond Indeed? How do we determine where to post a job? The first thing is to look at your industry. If you are hiring for a specific industry, because your business is in that industry, and you're hiring for a job that is specific to that industry, look for industry specific job boards. For example, I know there are a lot of great job boards in the interior design space. When we are helping clients that is in the interior design space, we'll typically look at some of these job boards to see if it's worth posting for their opening. Now, we know that this job board, if we're looking at it, is in the right industry. We are hiring a position that is within that industry, so industry specific. So what I mean by this is maybe you run an architectural company, but if you're hiring a bookkeeper is a bookkeeper across all industries. Yes, having some of that industry knowledge is beneficial, but a bookkeeping job doesn't change from industry to industry. So that's not an industry specific job. So a bookkeeper might not be looking on an interior design or architectural job board. So that's not an industry specific role, but your junior architect, your junior interior designers, all those are industry specific jobs that could perform well on a job board. So we find the job board, we know our position is industry specific for our industry specific job boards. How do we determine if we should spend the money? Because industry specific job boards are typically pay to play. I tend to look at what type of jobs are out there and where those jobs are located. If you're looking through that job board and there's not a lot of jobs that match your position, it might not be worth it. Because let's say you're looking for a job. If you go to a job board and you don't find anything that matches what you want to apply for, what is the likelihood that you're going to go back to that job board? You're probably not going to be checking it every day or every week for new opportunities, because when you go there, you're not seeing things for you. So look at that job board from the lens of your ideal candidate. Are there things there that would attract you as your ideal candidate to keep looking on that job board? If the answer is yes, consider posting there. If the answer is no, don't post there, at least for not now, but maybe check again for your next opening, because things change all the time. And when you're working with small budgets, we don't want to lead the pack and try to be the first and the trendsetter there. Let other people lead the trend there, and you follow along and take advantage of the traffic they're creating. Okay, so we have our industry specific job boards. What else is there? Sometimes there's location specific job boards. Sometimes there is type of work specific job boards. There are job boards specifically for sales roles. There's job boards specifically for bookkeeping roles. There's job boards specifically for customer service jobs. There are job boards out there that are position specific. So once again, follow those same steps to see, does one of these work for you? The biggest thing to do is when you find a job board that you think would be good is look to see what else is out there. Is there enough out there to attract your ideal candidate to make it worth spending the money? Some other suggestions is if you're hiring entry level, look at college job boards. Sometimes there's association job boards that even if you're not a part of that association, sometimes you can contact them and they will still send things out to people with on their mailing list or things like that, depending on the association. Other times they'll make you pay in order to do that, even if you're not a member, but you still have the opportunity. So look to find where is your ideal candidate looking frequently to find jobs. When you really know where your ideal candidate is going to look to find a job, you can figure out where to post your opening. When it comes to LinkedIn, this is the last one that we'll cover today in this video. This is one of those job boards where I say it's hit and miss. LinkedIn can be fabulous if you post a job, you share it out to your network, and your network is full of the type of people you want to hire. Because you're connecting it to you. You're sharing it with your network, and the people that are following you are seeing that and maybe sharing it with the other people that are there. In my opinion, most of the time when we just post a job on LinkedIn, it is an influx of candidates that tend to not always be qualified. I feel that in my experience, I am more likely to get unqualified candidates on LinkedIn than any other job board. But that doesn't mean that it's not worth there. So I would say, once again, think of your network. Also, once again, think of your ideal candidate. Is your ideal candidate most likely going to be someone who has a LinkedIn profile? Because if they don't have a LinkedIn profile, they're most likely not going to be using the LinkedIn job board. So once again, it all depends on what type of position you're hiring for and who your ideal candidate is. One of the things I will say as a word of caution is on Indeed, once again, you can typically post on your regular account one job for free at a time. Then if you're going to post more than one job at a time, you have to pay. And it's, I think typically, or at least it used to be, pay per click. I always say, once again, post for free, see what it gets you. There's no harm in posting on free job boards because you could get exposure, you could not, but it's not costing you anything to post for free. See how it performs before you put money behind it. When you put money behind it, start low and then increase to your full budget. The reason for this is I have found it's one of the job boards that you can see and you pay per click. It typically gets pushed out to people who are not your ideal candidates. And I've seen budgets wasted on LinkedIn with jobs going to people that would never, ever be qualified. For example, sometimes the job board will show it to a lot of overseas workers. If you say it's a remote opportunity, even if your remote opportunity is clearly stated that it should stay in the United States, that you have to be eligible to work in the US in order to be qualified for the job. So those are just some quick tips on how to determine where to post your job. But the most important thing for you to remember is where you post your job is just as important as what you write in that job post. And to determine where you should post your job, think about your ideal candidate and where they are going to go to look for work. Because if you don't get it in front of them, they are never going to see it and never be able to apply. Think of it this way. If you post or if you were advertising for women's dresses and you put those ads in a hunting magazine that has a target audience of men, the chances of your target audience, the women who want to wear those dresses, seeing that ad is very small. So you're posting your job as the same. Not all job platforms are equal when it comes to your ideal candidate. So don't just put it out there and expect them to see it. Put it in front of them. Put it where your target candidate is going to be so that way they see your job and apply.